the site
So,
might help.
so the Brock, how does it feel knowing that you're the first Pac-5 team to clinch the playoffs after everything that happened?
It was so weird because I was so focused on like just beating Caleb, and then I did, and I was like, wait a minute. I started like going through it in my head, and like I can't really miss.
Yeah,
I was like, wow.
yeah, Parker.
Now I get to start Josh Gordon again with no worries.
Fuck you. You know, okay? Like I need to know something, all right? You need to be
What?
honest with me.
What?
Were you ahead of me in waiver claims when you picked up Josh Gordon?
I don't remember that.
Just say yes.
I don't know. Was there even waiver claims then? I think there is, right?
I
Is it
think
just, it wasn't a free for all. I think it was waivers.
yeah, I think he was dropped, and then it was
Oh.
waivers, and then I need to know that even if I did put in a claim, I still wouldn't have gotten him because it's the only way I'm going to be able to sleep ever again.
I don't remember. I have no idea. All I know is it was like at the time it was 50% because I thought maybe like it couldn't get any worse, and it was 50% to make Dan mad. And then he was mad, and then I was like, oh, that's funny. I'm going to drop him soon. It'll be fine. And then like a week after that, like a little hint of good news like came out, and I was like, all right, let's ride it to the end.
Dude. God damn it. Love him.
God. After all that time, I'm the one who ends up with him.
Yeah, really.
It was ripped on you guys too for like he's an alcoholic. He's an addict.
Like I always said all that too, and then I like felt like I couldn't actually pick him up after saying all that because I just feel like a major d bag. But like, god damn it, I'm always a d bag. I should have just did it.
Oh,
whatever.
What can you do?
Yeah, it's so fine. Whatever. You know, Kareem Hunt. I have him. So how bad is life really? You know. Okay, so Brock, I'm gonna give you a little sneak peek of something I want to talk about. Probably next week. I probably won't bring it up this week, but so I compiled all of the playoff teams, like of all time, and the non-playoff teams of all time, and like looked at like their stats and like the averages and like averages for the champions and stuff. And your team, like I'm gonna do like a little like next like week 14, like a little playoff prediction thing, and I'm gonna pick your team to win because you like align with like almost every one of the categories for the champions.
Interesting.
Previous champions.
Yeah. Do you have the link to that database anywhere? I need to. I haven't seen it in a while, and it seems like it's gotten pretty fucking elaborate.
I can send it. I just did this week. It's just like all of the major statistics for playoff teams and non-playoff teams. And like Caleb, you're gonna put a real wrench in this shit if you make the playoffs. Like no team has ever made the playoffs outside of the top 5 in scoring and top 5 in WIB, and you are 9th and 10th in those things. 10th in WIB, Caleb, and you can make the playoffs by winning a game.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Hater's gonna say WIB is fake.
Yeah, bad year for the WIB.
I mean, his luck factor is going to be like almost 2, so I mean, can't get really any luckier than that. All right. So, I'm trying to think if there's anything I need to.
Guess who made the playoffs in Flea Flicker?
Guess we literally traded Keenan Allen before he had the best 3-game stretch of wide receiver play of all time. I did. Literally the week before.
What did you trade him for?
Purely, I had Saquon Barkley brain.
Okay.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah. All
Which
right.
I wouldn't probably got him with that stretch he had. So
All right.
worked out.
This is wild. Yeah.
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 Bro, sick. Okay.
Yeah.
I just want to like cue you guys in on a joke that I'm gonna make because I don't want it to like miss and be awkward.
Oh, come on, man.
Well, no, it's not because like
We
you guys are
we-
stupid.
We thrive off the awkwardness. Come on.
Okay, I'm sorry, I won't tell you that. You'll probably get it.
Oh, boy.
You're probably gonna get it.
I'm kind of scared now.
I think
Yeah.
like it's not like it's like
on edge the entire time. Like, the joke's
it's not
gonna
like a
come. What if I
complex
miss it?
joke. It's just like I'm gonna say it and you might not think anything of it, but it's like
You make some stupid face, I'll know it's a
I'm gonna be on edge now, and I'm probably gonna laugh awkwardly at a spot where it wasn't actually a joke.
it's gonna happen
Like,
right away. It's gonna happen
Right.
like almost right away. So,
all right.
All right. get the laughs out quick.
Oh, I have a fun just like situation question, just a fun game at the end. So too.
I like
Okay.
games.
All right. Yeah. Okay, we ready?
Yeah.
Baby girls?
It's us live.
Yeah, I've been recording. I did the thing this week.
Hey.
Okay.
Nice.
That is nice.
Fucking Eskimo over here.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
It's like you have a bear on your head.
It's warm, man. Get one.
It's like a small cub.
Oh my god. Okay. All right. Welcome everybody. Week 13. Web.com podcast 2017. Yeah, boys. So okay. This is gonna be a pretty great podcast. Would you agree with that, friends?
I would agree. Absolutely.
Sure. Maybe.
Yeah. Because not only is the playoff picture taking shape, and we can actually talk about it, but we have a game this week that's going to determine what that fourth spot's going to be. It's pretty fun stuff. So, let's dive in. Week 13 here, and let's start with game of the week. We did a Twitter poll this week. What the fuck are you laughing at already?
Was that the joke?
Nothing.
No, I
Nothing.
think I abandoned my joke. I think
Oh.
I just like it didn't feel right.
All right, okay.
I definitely abandoned it. It's over.
Come on, just deliver it now.
Just.
Well, I was gonna say like, oh yeah, like we'll talk about the week 13 games, and then we'll just do like some quick, like lightning predictions for week 14. Like not a lot going on, not a lot of big games, so we'll just kind of rip through that one. And
that
it's
was
like,
the joke?
we got the big
That
game.
was the joke.
Yeah,
That would have took a perfect execution on the delivery of it.
I know. See, I didn't trust myself to do that, so I just figured we could
Just
just
roll
keep
on.
it pretty chalk, yeah. Wouldn't just say like, yeah, we'll talk about it later. Yeah.
All right, we can edit that out.
Yeah, well, we're just gonna keep this whole part in. So,
Oh, let's do it.
are we gonna try to pick up where we left off, or are we just gonna like completely restart?
I vote keep it all in.
Don't cut this out, man. No balls. You won't keep this in.
No balls. Keep it in. We're couple of rascals, man. We get off topic.
Yeah. Mango, you gotta say something, man.
Just keep going. No editing required.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm gonna edit some of it,
All right, fine.
but I'll keep some of it. Like I'm gonna edit the, I don't know, whatever.
You could probably
I
edit
broke the fourth wall. Okay. All right. I don't even know how to get back on track now. All right, okay, let's just talk.
Well, this week we had a couple of big games. Week, what was it? 12, 13. Oh, I'm done. I can't do it.
Get out of there. Get out.
What is going on, guys? Cooper 88 and today we have
No.
web.com.
Get out.
On the map, Ardennes Forest.
Damn it, I got sniped again. Fuck. I hate this game.
Head glitch. You can't move.
I'm gonna go for a walk.
Can't move. All right. Okay. Breathe. All right. So let's start with our game of the week this week. We did a little Twitter poll this week. What do we think about that?
Absolute travesty that Josh and Dave did not win, even though I casted a vote.
Yeah, it was one. It was one vote.
I should have used all of my Twitter power to vote for that game.
Okay, we need to monitor your usage.
I am gonna rig the hell out of these things. If we
It's not gonna be okay.
All right, gotta go back to the site.
Yeah,
I like the site.
He's gonna abuse.
Do you like the site?
Accounts.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do the site. It's more space.
Site? Okay, yeah. We beta tested it, but site's pretty. Yeah, I'll go back to roller coaster lyrics. So game of the week was obviously a pretty hefty clash in the Pac-5. Brock and Caleb. And ultimately what happened was Brock became the first Pac-5 team to secure a playoff position for the 2017 postseason. So after everything that's happened, after Tim's 8-3 start, and Caleb's like, oh, he's going to fall off eventually, but he's pretty good. And Brock is the first one to claim a spot from that conference. Brock, tell me how it feels to be a 4-time consecutive playoff appearance person.
Oh, playoff appearance.
You're going to get the Pac-5. Don't worry about it.
That's the one I want more. I want to add that to the banner.
Yeah.
It feels weird considering it was basically chasing everyone from the get-go. I've not led the division until this week.
Yep.
Feels good. It was gritty. Caleb brings people down to his level. Brought my team down there too. Had to grit one out. Finally caught a couple of lucky breaks against the horseshoe over here with Joe Mixon going down. Probably caught a few more lucky breaks on Sunday. I don't really even know what'll happen Sunday. Just know that my team is not doing good.
No.
But yeah, gritted it out. Trade piece that we brought in this year, Antonio Brown, clutched up. So yeah. Now we're sitting here and we want get this quick W, clinch Pac-5 for 4 straight years.
Flip side, Caleb, tell me how it feels to lose in this big showdown that you had.
Honestly, it wasn't as heartbreaking as you think it might be. I don't know. Once Mixon was out, that was sort of like my little get out of whatever. It's like, oh well, Mixon got hurt. I wouldn't have won anyways. But like, I don't know. Like, at least Parker lost, so that made it a lot easier for me to be like, okay, I still have a chance here because
At least you weren't eliminated.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean, like for you, you win and you're in type of a thing now. Yeah. So this loss doesn't really mean a whole lot. You could have had a shot at that 2 seed, but like you said, Brock kind of brought him.
Still does.
Oh well, yeah, that's true. Yeah, barring a Josh loss, or a Josh victory.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So which, I mean, it's possible.
It's playing well.
Yeah, Calvin beats Parker this week, so. But yeah, no, Brock, your lowest total this week since week 5, with the 138.3. So Caleb, definitely the whole bringing down to the level thing, very real. But unfortunately for Caleb, it was a 1 WIB this week. 130, not like disgustingly terrible, but
Yeah,
definitely,
got a donut out of Corey Coleman, and
yeah.
I got 4 points out of Olivier Vernon, 1 point out of Michael Bennett. He got dropped today.
The
whole David Irving
D-line is
Okay.
a complete rotation.
Couple points to make. Okay, so David Irving, obviously we know I started him 3 weeks and he didn't get a sack, and then this week drop him and he gets a sack. So I was already pissed. So I gotta go look back on this. And it turns out I don't have a single sack out of a defensive lineman this season.
What?
I might have missed a week somewhere in between because I was just going through. The only thing I saw was a half sack out of DeForest Buckner in week 5.
I wanted to do something similar to this, but with my kicker stats. I wanted to see what my kicker would have done all year and see what those stats would be, because I feel like it would be horrendous.
It's unbelievable. I don't think that's ever been done before. So
that's
records.
Actually crazy.
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't know what I'm gonna do this week for defensive line. I might just Twitter poll it or something. I have no clue what to do.
Yeah, the D line has certainly plagued you this season, and in turn has plagued your entire defense, which, quick note, is on pace to be the worst defense of all time.
Dang it. That's not what I wanted.
Yeah. But win and you're in the playoffs, man.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah. I mean, at this point, the stats and stuff is kind of out the window, because if you get into the playoffs, obviously anything can happen. But we were just kind of talking before we started, this is going to be unprecedented and a half if your team makes the playoffs. And next week when we do our playoff preview and predictions, I'll talk a little bit more about that. But yeah, what you're doing, Caleb, if you do end up qualifying, is unbelievable. So
I have a stat.
Ooh.
And usually my stats on this show make Core feel bad. So I feel like I need to switch it up here.
All right.
So you mentioned you don't have a sack from the D-line. So I pulled up a player that I have in my defense, and I looked at transaction history.
Oh yeah.
It looks like an Aaron Donald, is that how you say it?
Yeah.
Was owned by Honey Funches of Oats
when did I drop him?
He was owned from July 19th to September 13th. Picked up promptly by David Wilson Batman on September 14th.
Okay,
he has 8 sacks.
Yeah, 8 sacks. Okay, so but that was during his whole thing. He was holding out, and he wasn't even gonna play. I don't even remember if he played.
Who are you, Dave?
Right.
Drop players because they're holding out.
Okay,
that's how people get Joey Bosa, Caleb.
Right, and then the second game, I don't know if he played the first game because he had 0, but the second game he had 1 tackle, 1 point. And I was just wow, he's irrelevant. And then I dropped him. And then
we here in DW Batman land, we preach patience. We take in players that have been shunned by their teams, like Aaron Donald or your Josh Gordons of the world, and we let them prosper on the bench. We give them a home, give them a salary.
Wow. Well, both those guys
they come through
by Dan for a while.
Yes. Both of them were, coincidentally.
Yeah.
Is Brock Dan Light?
Dan Light.
Dan Light.
Web.com note, if Dan drops a player, you want him, pick him up.
No, you're going to want me to pick him up first.
Yeah.
Let him do bad for a couple weeks, get that out of his system. Then I'll drop him, then pick him up.
Yeah, wait till Caleb drops them right
Here,
before good
I'll
things
give,
happen.
I'll give you guys a free one. I'll just check out whoever Dan has dropped last, and I'll pick them up this week, and then it's a free for all. Whoever wants them next week.
Yeah,
All right.
if you want a couple sacks this week, Michael Bennett, name to watch.
Yeah.
Oh man, Caleb, if you make the playoffs, man.
I was gonna get murdered this week if I won.
Yeah.
That was real.
There was death threats.
I missed that one. That was Carter.
Yeah.
That was funny.
I got it from Parker over PSN. I was studying over here, and then all of a sudden I get a Caleb. Carter says he's gonna kill you or murder you if you win this week, and I was like, oh.
I love that the teams not in playoff contention are the ones sending out death threats now. Before it was just Tim. Now it's like we got the teams
Carter has my first this year, so this is why I really I fucked him up pretty bad. I feel awful. I have his first too. So that's kind of like it's nice for me, but yeah, some owners might not take light to it.
All right.
Well, you're here. You're alive.
Yep.
Breathing.
Yep. Lost.
Wednesday.
Survived. One more shot. Biggest win of your that's not true, but biggest win of your franchise's career with you as the owner. This would be because believe it or not, your team was in the title game a few years ago under different ownership. Was promptly ejected the following season. But anyway, the game of the week poll was pretty close this week. Our runner-up was Dan and Tim. Normally, pretty popular matchup choice, and this week had some stakes. But Tim once again failed to capitalize. He's dropped the last 2 games against teams that are officially in the playoffs. So now with this loss, Tim moves forward to face Caleb, obviously. But let's talk about Dan first, because I think Dan, we talked about this last week, but now it's time to really talk about it because I'm pretty sure people aren't realizing how good of a season Dan is actually having post his first 2 weeks, whatever the hell that was all about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we got 10-1 since then. Like, I don't have his scores pulled up at the moment, but he's pretty consistently dominant 10-1 stretch here, and no one's really talking about it.
Right. 168.9 points per game over that stretch. That is the most in the league over that period of time. And he gets a week high this week. The team is really firing, and like he certainly could still get the 1 seed. He's actually in position to be the 1 seed if the season ended right now. But yeah, I feel like he's just been kind of overshadowed all season, and we talked about that last week. But when we get post week 14 and we start talking about these playoff matchups and who do we got and these kinds of things, like I can't imagine anybody but Dan being the favorite heading into the playoffs just because of what his team has done all season long. He's he has 1 game in this stretch below 140 points, and other teams are just bouncing all over the place. My team's down to like 100 for a week and then back up, and Brock's 130 and back up, and these kinds of things. Like Dan's just really hitting it every single week, it seems like. So scary team for sure.
Yeah, we talked about it. We talked about how his team's built on the defense, and how has his defense been scoring? Like,
so that's actually something I was going to talk about, because the defense has actually fallen off considerably over the last 4 weeks. He had in week 12, he had a 74-point performance. That's very good. But other than that, it's kind of really been falling off. He's got a couple of 40-point performances, including a 40 this week. And I mean, the offense has picked it up. The offense has made up for that difference, including a 146.7 this week, which is one of the highest totals this season. And I mean, these other offensive totals are like from 200-point games. This is a 186, and he's getting almost 150 points from the offense. So if the defense picks it up, or even just with how the offense is operating right now, like it's pretty intense, like what he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
Ryan Shazier, though, heart and soul of his defense, scary situation, and not coming back.
A little bit of a weakness at linebacker. Kind of just got Deion Jones and then some guys. The one thing too with Kamara, the emergence of Kamara, like in this hot stretch, one of the most ridiculous hot stretches fantasy-wise probably ever.
Yeah.
Is he gonna keep being this like 20-point like elite RB1 here? Or is he going to fall just back down? Like, the efficiency has been insane with Kamara.
It seems like the real deal. Like, even with Ingram in there, Ingram's still like putting up solid numbers. Like, it's just weird. Like, I just want to comment like how we watched him in college. Like in college, he was like really slippery and stuff, and like hard to take down. Like, when he gets to the NFL, that's not going to be as easy. It looked like guys are like slipping off him. It's the exact same thing in the NFL. Like dudes just like they'll get their hands on him and he'll just squeeze right through. It's unbelievable. Same as he looked in college. It's crazy.
Yeah, and it's I mean, for this is a second round pick, and for this guy to come in on this team and do this is very, like credit to Dan for drafting him and getting him in the spot that he did. But yeah, very scary that this kind of player ends up on Dan's team from that draft position, because it's pretty insane what he's been doing over the last stretch of the season here, and could very well be the difference for title season for Dan.
Oh yeah.
So
what pick was he in the second?
I want to say 13th. Let me confirm that real quick. 12th.
Oh.
So it was Evan Ingram, Kamara, and Juju were the top 3 picks of the second round. So not a bad start to the second round.
Yeah, that's unbelievable.
It's just crazy. Like he has a legit chance to be RB2 right now. He's like, I don't know a total carry, but just glancing at his per week carries, like it's definitely less than 10 carries per game, and he's the RB2. That's insane.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. He's got like 3 games over 10 carries. Well, no, 1 game over 10 carries. The other 2 were 10. Like that's wow.
It's pretty ridiculous. And this is obviously a team that already had a very established group of running backs. With Melvin Gordon, Le'Veon Bell, and Jordan Howard, and now you inject this into the mix. It's a recipe to win a championship for sure. And if he can keep seeing production out of the receivers, AJ Green having a big week this week and things like that, like if he continues to see that, he's gonna be a real tough matchup. This is why the games this week for me and Dan matter so much. Not so much for us, but for whoever is going to play those teams. If Dan gets the 1 seed, matches up with, let's say Tim or Caleb, that's a scary matchup for you. Like if you get in Caleb, like you don't want to see that. You'd rather see me. So Dan is definitely the 1 seed in everybody's mind right now, I think. So for if he gets in as a wild card, that's a first of all, that's a huge game with Brock. But scary stuff from Dan right now. Tim, I don't want to do the whole dance again this week because everybody already knows what's kind of happened with this team. But this week, honestly, was even though he lost, he needed to see this. A 163, a 7 WIB, and he's set up. All he has to do is win a game, and he's in the playoffs. And, he's going to have some confidence now, seeing that his team could, respond like this after a 120-point performance. And this let's just get this straight. This would be a heartbreaker for Tim, not only because of his 8-3 start and that situation. This would be the third consecutive season that Tim would have missed the playoffs with at least 8 wins. And no other team has ever done that except for Caleb last season as well. So
we had 2015 where he kind of charged from behind and ripped off a long winning streak at the end.
7 games.
And didn't quite make it. And then last year, I forget kind of what happened last year. I think me and him kind of battled down the stretch, and my team was kind of sucking and still pulled it out. So that was a little bit heartbreaking as well.
Yeah, it was in 2015. He had the 7-game winning streak after getting Odell, and was 9-5 that season and missed the playoffs. Only 9-win team never missed the playoffs. And then last season he played you in week 14. Winner gets into the dance.
Oh, I forgot that was a play-in game.
So, yeah, Tim is this would be a tough one for him, especially since he was in the driver's seat. He wasn't playing catch up this year. He was in the driver's seat, and now he's facing a situation where if you lose, you go home. So, but like I said, he saw some things out of his team this week. 101 out of the offense. The defense had a 62. That was kind of nice to see. He's at over 60 in the last 2 weeks from the defense. So picking it up in that spot at least. But I don't know. It really is a toss up. We'll talk about Caleb and Tim's game later a little bit more in detail, but it really feels like a toss up right now.
Yeah,
for that game. So
yeah, it's gonna be tough to pick.
Yeah, let's move into the Parker Calvin game, because obviously that had some serious consequences attached to it, and in fact, Parker did lose to the 1-12 or 1-11 Calvin team. Burned them again.
Yep.
Late in the season.
The roller coaster season was always meant to come back down.
Finally crashed.
What a heartbreaking loss, not gonna lie. That I felt for Parker on Monday and Tuesday there. Pretty much set up, he's texted me all week hey, all we got to do is win, and then Tim's out of the playoffs. I'm he's out looking in. I just got to beat Calvin. You're playing Caleb. I'm playing Calvin. We're both gonna win.
Oh no!
And then I sneak out one the team that he needs. With the way it played out, he would have needed me to lose.
Yeah.
Now he can't catch me. And of course, the other 2 teams are playing each other. So one of them's gonna be 9-5. Is that right?
Yeah. What a turn!
One of them will be 9-5. Yep. And all of a sudden,
you guys riding together to the playoffs, and all of a sudden you're the bad guy for beating.
Yeah. All of a sudden you lose to Calvin, and all of a sudden you're out of the playoffs in one shoot. It probably was a rough Tuesday, maybe Suicide Tuesday. Has anyone heard from him?
That's actually no shit. No. So okay, we this is year 5, so we've been around long enough for the teams to kind of have identities, and Parker's identity is a winner. He's the only team with 2 rings, back-to-back Big 5 titles, which has been a very competitive conference, and yeah, for his season to end like this, losing to the 1-11 Calvin team. Well, let's get this straight as well. Parker is the 4th scoring and 4th WIB team in Webb right now. So he's having a good season, but the dominoes didn't really fall in his favor along the way, and now, it's over at 7-6. So It's rough. It's really it's rough for him. I feel for him. You know, he's been a staple of the Webb postseason in the last 3 years, and it's gonna be weird not having him there. But
yeah, I really put up a valiant effort too. After I think if we pull up our pods from the David Johnson, I think he was pretty much getting written off. Like,
yeah,
that's it for Parker. Trade away Antonio. David Johnson down. So to kind of put up this good of a fight and be right there to the end, I would say a successful season, actually.
yeah, I think definitely. You know, like he definitely played an underdog role this season after all of the things that happened. And for him to prove that his team was bigger than those two players and kind of show some of his depth come through. Yeah, great, good season.
Yeah.
Tough season, but a good season for Parker.
Yeah,
So,
and that was the thing he was getting ripped on too towards the end of last season was his depth and this off season. So it's got to be nice to see.
He'll be back next season, ready to storm the Big Five again. But quick note on Calvin, though, picks up his second win of the season. So now we have a situation in which Josh could still earn that number 1 overall selection, which seemed pretty locked up for Kelvin after his 10-game losing streak. But yeah, so Calvin actually showing some life here at the end of the year, averaging 162.2 in the last 2 weeks. So I get the draw of Calvin in the last week of the season. So we'll see what happens.
Ooh,
It'll be interesting.
If he picks up the W and Josh loses, man.
Yep,
that's a nice little, interesting little thing there with the Saquon pick.
Yeah, back-to-back first overalls for Josh if that would happen. But all right, let's move on to what else do we have here? Well, let's see. Carter and me, I guess we'll talk about next. So pretty run of the mill here, you know, like no upsets. Just kind of went how we predicted it to go. The thing here is my team showing, I think, that it's still, even though it's Kareem Huntless, I've picked it up in other areas. Keenan Allen is obviously the story of my team right now, and I'm still seeing production out of my other receivers. So a team that was very sketchy at receiver in the middle parts of the season, it's now almost looking like it's the strength of my team, or at least of my offense.
Yeah, we got wide receiver 5, Keenan Allen, wide receiver 6, Marvin Jones, 11, Larry Fitzgerald. I mean, yeah, it's definitely coming along at the right time for you here. Guys are getting hot. Wow.
Yeah, the Marvin Jones trade ends up kind of looking good at this point. And, yeah, you know, obviously Keenan Allen is one of those players that, like, so let's say if I won the title and, you know, I give my whole emotional acceptance speech like I was tweeting about, like, Keenan Allen's going to be near the top of the list because he's been there. I've traded him. I've gotten him back, and, like, you know, just I like that he's part of this right now.
I feel like you've got that entire thing written, Bri.
Oh my god, dude! So, I don't want to do it because if I write it now and I lose, it's gonna be awful. It's gonna be awful. But,
oh man.
Yeah. No. My team. I mean, it still has a chance to be the overall 1 seed. So I don't think I wouldn't favor myself over Dan heading in the playoffs, like, no matter who gets the 1 seed. But it is pretty important this season because the matchup changes from Brock to a Tim/Caleb, which is a pretty significant difference in team. Mm-hmm. So it would be pretty big for me to get that 1 seed to end the season. I'm currently 0.5 points per game behind Dan. So if we both win the games that we should win in the last week of the season, well, that's not true because Dan's playing Parker. But, I mean, he still should win. But it's a tougher matchup than Kelvin, obviously. So
the seeding, I guess we'll probably talk about this as we get to the next games, but the seeding scenarios are just completely insane right now. There's so many.
Yeah, yeah, we'll hit on that when we talk. But yeah, you're right. It's pretty crazy. So I just want to talk about Carter real quick because we.
Yeah, just wait. I just looked at your bench. Oh my god, there's so much red.
Yeah, just don't talk about it. I don't like looking at it, so it's. Dude,
oh dear.
The amount of zeros that I see on my bench, I'm just like, God, what the hell's going on? And I'm like, oh, they're all hurt. That's
like
right.
6 IRs. There's 6 IRs. 7. I lied. There's 7.
You don't know,
you need a completely another set of IRs, and then you'd still have an extra.
Yeah. And I'm not dropping Jake Butt, so they're gonna sit on my bench because I rode with Butt for too long now. But yeah,
you just rode with the Butt for too long.
I've rode with Butt too long. It's become part of my. What a guy.
We'll cut that.
Well, no, we won't. So, yeah. Carter, this whole dick sucking of Carter has been a funny thing throughout the season. Still has a good team, but let's talk about Carter's last 5 weeks real quick here. Averaging 127.9 points per game. 3-week lows.
Ooh.
And has only been above 130 one time.
Ooh.
So the turn of events has been very. He's like a very dark horse sleeper playoff team if everything goes right to wow, this team is really bad.
I mean, he was coming off his big upset with Dan. Dan's only loss in the last however many weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Dang it. I really wish it could have happened.
I don't, 168, 150.6, and then he hits a 112 week low, and it just spirals out of control. He wins the next week, and then he's now on 3 straight with a bunch of 120s and a lot of red. So, unfortunate end of the season for Carter. He doesn't have his own first-round pick, so he's not really happy about losing anyway, especially because Caleb is still winning. That is the pick that he has. So, but yeah, whatever. It was a wild ride for Carter this year. But last game of the week then was our Dave and Josh matchup, which garnered 1 vote in the game of the week poll, and I mean, wasn't a bad game by any stretch. If we're just looking at it as on a game standpoint, Josh showed up this week a little bit. His first week over 150 since week 2. So he came to play against Dave. He wanted to show it.
It's a little bit of a rivalry brewing down here with these cellar dwellers.
It kind of is, it almost has some weight, they've been picked on, they've been kind of trounced upon, and they're like, you know what? If we're going to be in this together, we might as well just hate each other while we're at it.
It's a little bit of a, I don't know if I want to say rivalry, but matchup. If it gets last week Dave playing, if it gets that kind of reaction, yeah. It's like those Dan and Brock Bowls or something like that.
Yeah.
Josh and Dave matchup might be the next one.
Well, right. And that's, what you said last week with someday this is going to be the one.
Yeah.
Whenever that day comes, it actually probably will be the one because what's kind of happened so far. But yeah, no, it's fun to see these matchups. I mean, it obviously doesn't really mean a whole lot. It does mean a lot to Josh, though, because he's obviously trying to get the number 1 overall pick. without like trying to do that. And he pulls out kind of a nice little performance this week, gets a victory, moves to 3-10, and now is kind of a game out of that number 1 overall pick. So, I mean, yeah, you always want to win. Like, I think all of our owners are kind of on the same page. Like, we want to win every week. But for Josh's team, like, probably would have liked to see another loss this week with a Kelvin win. But whatever, you know.
Yeah, I think we kind of reached the point in Web where it's not necessarily a want to win, but you like seeing your players do well at this point too.
That's
like,
true. That's true.
Like maybe Rex Burkhead becomes like a consistent thing, and Bill Belichick doesn't just decide to. I think Bill Belichick just exists to screw over fantasy owners. He just like plays whatever running back he wants. Like, people are probably like thinking this is a sure thing now. I'm gonna bench him.
Yeah, no, and well, I mean, even trade bait too. Like off season, guys. Last season, Gillisley was a off season trade, I think, and so I mean, guys like that are. You end the season with some steam, and you might have a market. So yeah, nice little game. Dave moves to 5-8, so. Dave, man, 5-8 in a season like this, where he's the number fluctuating between lowest and second lowest scoring team. Not bad, Dave's like, I'm happy with this 5-9, 6-8 kind of season. So,
God, it feels like yesterday was 5-5. And so was I.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kid's got a loss with 168 in there. That hurts a little bit, but
2 weeks ago we had a complete matchup to decide who was going to continue on in the playoff race. Me and Dave, and it was a 2-point game. Oh my God!
Crazy.
This
season's crazy. It's crazy. So let's talk about week 14, because not only we've already talked about this, but not only is this the last week of the season, kind of a big deal always. But we have a game this week that has some things attached to it. I mean, there's a lot of games that have things attached to them, but yeah, this is a playoff game essentially. So, Caleb, I want to start with you because you're in the game. You've been thinking about it all week. You're ready to get going. Points are going to be on the board tomorrow night. Tell me what the thought process was this week as you prepare for the biggest game that you've ever played in Web.
Wow. Well, really built it up for me there. Well, Tim got his weekly text. I don't even know what he said about how his season's over already or what. How he's going to score less than me. So we talked about that. And then, I don't know. It's going to be a weird week, especially if Mixon can't play and if Cooper can't play. I don't know who I'm going to be starting with that, and I still don't have a second defensive lineman. But some good news and bad news with Tim's team. First off, good news for me, Tyreek Hill had a huge week last week, which means he should come back down to earth.
Very true.
And if he feels like and it feels like starting T.Y. Hilton, he also had a big game last week, but it was on his bench. He'll drop off this week too, so that feels good. But Michael Crabtree comes back from a suspension. Dude's been an Achilles heel for me. He just comes up big games against me. Well, not really big game, just any game I play against him. It doesn't turn out well. So really worried about Crabtree, especially if Cooper's out. He'll get a bunch of targets. But, I made it this far. It hasn't been pretty. But I left my heart out on the line every week. I tried my hardest.
Received a lot of heat.
All of the heat, pretty much all of it was towards me. But, I have a chance here to shut the haters up. I don't care. I win this week. I'm in the playoffs. So
Caleb, I want to talk about something because, your team has been bad, but beaten good teams. I mean, like you have a win over Dan. There's only 2 teams that have that, or sorry, 3 teams that have that. You've beaten Parker, you've beaten Tim already once this season in your first matchup. So like, you've played these teams, you've matched up with them, you've beaten them. Tim, you know, like first of all, he also has a win over Dan. He also has a win over Brock, and he also has a win over me. So you guys have both beaten good teams this season, and like I think that both of you have proven that you deserve a spot in the playoffs, regardless of what your points per game, WIB, and all of these different things say, because they're vastly different. But yeah, I think that this is an exciting game. It's a good game for Webb. You know, like we're gonna have some excitement here in week 14, and what a story it would be if you could pull this off. You know, like okay, let me ask Brock something here, because Brock, you are the face. You are the face of the Pac-5. You're the guy that runs the place over there. Tell me what you think about all this. You know, you're probably gonna win the Pac-5 championship, but you still might not win it, and Caleb could win it over you. Just tell me
win it. Well, right now my team we're focused 1 week ahead. We're focused on only our game. We don't want to let outside distraction come into play. 1 week at a time. Do your jobs. You know, all that.
Good answer.
Good answer.
Thank you. But in non-joking matter, it's nice kind of to see the Pac-5, which got a bad rap there for a couple years while I was dominating it, being called weak. So it's kind of weak. It's nice to see that there's some. We got Tim ravaged by injuries, loses his 2 best players. Kind of hate to see that. You want to beat teams at their best. Also, I like to see it because I hate Tim from a Pac-5 standpoint. My bitter rival that I have to keep that going. So, yeah, it's nice to see the Pac-5 performing well. Get some publicity here with this playoff matchup. Maybe bring in some cash. Yeah. Get some
revenue for the Pac-5.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Nice. I mean, it's definitely traditionally been the weaker conference. You know, like you and Tim have the only winning records in conference play, and they're both very like convincing. Like Tim, a team that had potentially the worst season of all time, has a winning record in the Pac-5. And Brock, you have an 800 winning percentage in the Pac-5. So, like, I mean, you guys have kind of done that.
What is that in wins and losses? I just want to hear.
You are 28-7 in Pac-5 games.
Not bad.
So you've only lost 7 times to Pac-5 opponents, and 4 of the 7 were to Tim. So
Jesus.
Yeah, you've done pretty well against the others, but yeah, no, I think this is awesome. You know, like this is what we like last season. We had one of these. It was the first time ever that we had to play and get in kind of a game. This season we get another one, and yeah, I mean this could potentially be for the Pac-5 title if you were to lose to Josh, Brock. So
the one thing I wanted to point out too is we won't know for sure if this game is for a Pac-5 title until it's after it's over, because both of Caleb and Tim, I don't think either one of them, as of now, have a player playing Monday. So we will know that game Sunday night.
Oh, jeez.
And I think me and Josh both have someone going Monday. So
okay, all right. Well, it's. Yeah, so whoever wins that game is gonna be sitting there like, if that Josh and Brock game's close, then they're gonna be like,
I might. Who's playing Monday night? I might pick up whoever the defensive lineman is for that Monday night. How clutch would you just? I just want to see One time, pull through for me. Monday night, defensive lineman. Get me a sack.
I believe the Monday night game is it's Patriots Dolphins.
Dolphins.
Yep.
Hmm.
Patriots Dolphins.
Cameron Wake is a free agent.
Enticing.
He's got sacks this season. I like
That's different. That is different.
That's a plus. That's a plus right there.
All right. I'll think about it.
Sacks
Makes my
are
heart
good.
racing.
In case you didn't know, sacks are good. You get 4 points.
I didn't.
All right.
All right.
This is how this works, guys. We gotta pick a game. We gotta pick a winner. Caleb, you're disqualified, I think, from this. But Brock and I. Brock, who are you gonna pick here? Who's gonna make the dance?
This is the most important pick'em we've ever done. This game right here. Who? I am gonna go with. I'm gonna pick Caleb because I want Caleb to win, not because I hate Tim, but I do. Because Tim's got that Zeke thing looming that scares me.
Yeah.
And if I played Tim in the playoffs, it would be in the championship game where he would have Zeke.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm picking Caleb.
All right. So, dang. Tim is currently 5th in scoring. He's currently 5th in WIB. Still only playing at the level of a 7-win team. But Caleb, 8th in scoring, 10th in WIB. Yeah, that's right, 10th in WIB. Last in teams beaten per week. Playing at the level of a 5-win team, which by the way is a worse statistical season than Dave. I'm gonna pick Caleb.
Woo!
Oh, unanimous.
I'm going against the numbers because everything about Caleb's season is against the numbers, and I think that some way and somehow Tim is going to have his heart broken for the 3rd straight season, and we're going to have Caleb in the dance after all of this that has happened.
It's really unfortunate that Tim wasn't able to come on the podcast to defend himself.
I know. He's been unanimously chosen against. It's not probably a great feeling, but he'll try to prove everybody wrong. So
Actually, I told him I was kicking him out of the league if he didn't come on the podcast, and so far he hasn't showed. So
we're gonna have to find a new owner at again.
Dang. Might not even be there to suffer the heartbreak.
Oh yeah. All right. So that's obviously the biggest game of the week. I'm not even gonna have a game of the week poll because obviously. But these other games do mean something, and to a couple teams they mean a lot actually. So let's start with Dan and Parker. Traditionally, this has been a late season like playoff kind of scenario. Like even in 2015 they played in week 14 for the Big Five title. This season obviously a little bit different. Dan is trying to win to cement getting that 1 seed potentially, and Parker's just looking to knock off Dan because that always feels good. So who do we got here?
No, this season we've said it's a roller coaster, and it seems like we're at the low point here. The people are about to take the thing off, and then they're like getting ready to get out. But I think we got one last loop in there, baby. Give me Parker over Dan.
Yeah, ride the wave. Parker roller coaster one last time. Up. Let's do it.
I'm going to pick Dan. I don't want to pick Dan because I obviously want Dan to lose, but kid's cooking. So I'm going to pick him. But yeah, no, that'd be something if Parker could to do this. Like, play the role of like the knockoff guy late in the season after the last 2 years. What's happened to him late in the year?
Yeah.
But all right. So then I'm matching up with Calvin. So obviously a different scenario, different kind of matchup here. But Calvin's coming off of a win over a potential playoff team, so can't really count him out in this matchup.
Mm-mm.
What do you think?
I think Calvin's going to lose and secure that number 1 pick. I think Corpse is going to win. I'm going to say he's going to outscore Dan and take the number 1 seed.
Wow.
All right. Wow.
Let me take a look. How have you been doing these past few weeks, Mingo? You had a pretty good week this
I had
week.
an 8-win this week.
One last prediction. Kareem Hunt is going to score a touchdown this week.
Ooh.
Full circle, yes.
That.
Did you know he hasn't scored one since week 3?
Oh, geez. We almost forgot to. Dang. Good catch.
True
Good
statement.
catch.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure over this 2-game stretch, Calvin is averaging more points per game than Mingo. If I'm looking at this right, he had a 153 this week and a 170 last week. And then you had, let's see here.
I'll save you the time. You're right.
I am right. All right.
Leave the stats to Mingo. God damn it.
So the Saber metrics, the next gen stats we have here are telling me that Calvin is actually I'm taking Calvin.
Recency bias. If there was a BCS college playoff bowl, Calvin will be ranked higher than you. He's doing better lately.
We'll go with that.
With my predictions, Mingo and Dan both lose. Huh. Who'd score more in that situation? Give me Dan. Dan scores more than Mingo. Just to throw that out there.
So Calvin is actually better than Caleb's team, so I wouldn't be completely shocked if I lost because Caleb is potentially going to playoffs, but yeah, it's kind of sucks. So, whoa, yeah.
Was that the joke?
That's the joke right there.
All right.
Calvin's 3.8 WIB having you bodied this season.
Remember when I beat him that one week?
I don't know, whatever. Picking myself. I'm picking myself to win the Big 5. Mic drop.
Do you have a Big 5 title?
Nope.
Wow.
You're first.
This is
Dan Parker.
This is
big week for everyone.
Stuff, yeah.
It's a big week for me. I'm definitely excited about it.
Are you gonna have a speech prepared if you win the Big 5, or
might issue a statement?
Okay, all right.
Might issue a statement.
Statements. Maybe pop a bottle.
Yeah,
just one.
We don't want to look too far ahead, but this team's all about celebrations and drinking alcohol. So, all right. Let's switch gears over here to the Brock Josh game, which still does have some implications here. Brock wins his 4th consecutive Pac-5 championship. Big achievement. No team has ever won 4 consecutive. No team's ever won 3 consecutive. So you're already there.
Yeah, that's the big one that I want. As far as playoff-wise, obviously it would suck to lose the Pac-5, but playoff-wise, I'm playing either you or Dan. Either way, so
yeah.
From that standpoint, not really much of a difference to me. So
yeah,
completely a 4-peat run here.
Yeah. I'm picking the 4-peat.
Yeah, no upset from me here. I got Brock.
Yep.
Thank you.
Got
I
you.
don't have any stats that make Josh sound better than you. Mingo can whip something.
I mean, he would have beat him last week, so
there you go. That's a stat.
Give me Josh.
Oh,
no. Fantasy football is so weird. All right. last game then. Dave and Carter. No stakes here, just pride.
Actually, kind of big
It's-
stakes for me because I have Carter's pick, and if Carter
Oh, the
wins,
picks, yeah.
I think
Yeah,
he has
Carter's
more-
pick has a lot of variance to it. Yet,
Yeah.
this late.
I'll either be picking third or fourth. Is that right? Yeah.
That pick, if Josh wins, Carter loses, I think their scoring averages are pretty close.
Ooh.
It's
I think
very
this could
close.
potentially be second.
Ooh. All right.
Things all right.
Yeah.
Let's just keep an eye open. Make sure there's no tanking or anything of that sort. Anything.
We always got our eyes peeled.
All right. I've been hearing things from Carter said towards me a lot lately. It wouldn't surprise me if he just.
Well, what?
started-
No, Carter would want to win though,
He would.
right?
Yeah, because he would be
Just
screwing
because you
you.
have his pick.
Ah, you're right.
What's better than screwing Caleb? Nothing.
It's a Gav hashtag for Christ's sake.
Yeah, I saw that's in your bio now too. What? That's not even.
Oh,
funny.
put it in everybody's bio.
Pac-5 hatred is strong.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We,
All right.
we develop rivalries in this conference. We
I'm-
focus on it.
So gotta keep the people excited somehow. Brock's winning
Yep.
every single game. So. Brock, did you know that? Okay, this is a quick side note, but did you know that in 2013 when you were 7-7, before you became a powerhouse, you were still like one of the best teams that season?
Like stat wise,
Like statistically, yeah.
yeah, that season it's misleading though because I went on a torrid stretch on my 3-game win streak to finish the year because I was 4-7.
Okay, yeah.
So it's a little
That's true. You
misleading.
got the 200
but-
point game in there at the week 13, but
Yeah.
I just thought it was interesting. Like you had more points
Was
per
this
game than I
the
thought.
sign of things to come? Those three games, those are a part of the longest winning streak in web history, and I don't forget about them.
They are part of that. You're correct.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm gonna pick Dave in this game. Dave's gonna be 6-8.
Taking Carter. Or suck his dick one last time next week.
Taking Dave.
Oh come on.
Dave.
Oh wait, but I don't trust him. That's right.
Oh, the integrity thing. Yeah, it's true. That's hard. That's hard.
Whatever.
All right. Well, that's week 14. Last week of 2017. Next week's podcast will certainly be lit. Brock, I believe you said you had something to wrap the show up today.
Yep. It's just a fun little discussion game that I listened to on a podcast this week, and I thought it'd be funny to talk about. Okay. You have 30 rack of beer. Someone has poisoned 2 of the beers with a odorless. Caleb, you look like you've heard this before.
I haven't. I'm just
Someone has poisoned 2 of the beers with an odorless, tasteless liquid for each, and they're just mixed in randomly with the 30 beers. For each beer you drink, you get $1 million,
Ooh.
but the poison would kill you if you drink one with the poison. How many beers do you drink?
Wow.
I don't like messing with death too much. Hang on a second. They're gonna do some quick
It's gonna take
math.
some.
Let me run the numbers.
thought.
Let me crunch some numbers.
So you have a 93% chance that your first beer will not be poisoned.
All right.
I'm gonna take those odds.
You drink 1 beer.
If I die
drink one?
from a 7% chance of death, then I guess like whatever. But I don't think I could bring myself to do another one. Like I'd take my million and run.
Whew.
1 million.
I feel like
I think I'd go. I think I'd do 2. For sure, 2.
yeah, that's about where
Wanted-
I'm at.
Wanted to say 5, but the thing you bring into play when you get to 5, 6, or 7 is you start getting a little drunk.
Oh, yeah. Oh, one more.
All right, it's not going to be the next one. There's no way it could be the next one. The other thing too that was brought up when I listened to it was I'm just going to take like however, let's say they're lined up in a row. I'm going to take the first one and the last one because what are the odds it's the first one and the last one?
Same as any of the other ones, but
well, I wonder if it was computer generated assigned or if it was human placed randomly.
Okay.
That's a variable.
Human placed, it wouldn't be either of the end.
Or it would be.
Or it would be both.
Exactly.
No.
Dude, okay.
Could you imagine if it was hand done and the person put it right at the front? That is.
What a dick.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
You still have a 93% chance even after one beer. So I'm going to do 2. But after we dip below 93, then I'm done. So
Yeah,
2 beers.
I think
2
2
million.
is, you got your 2 million.
You can get
that's
far
pretty
up, 2
solid.
million,
Yeah.
Nice. Wow. Yeah, that was kind of.
Yeah.
Wow.
What were the thoughts of the
Thought-provoking.
podcast? Was there anything?
I was doing math on the podcast. That's fucking weird.
The one that I listened to, you mean, Caleb?
Yeah.
There's a lot of twos.
Yeah.
Like 2 million, a lot of money. One guy is like very suicidal. He's like, I'm drinking them all. I'm gonna leave the money to my family, which was an interesting spin.
That is
spin on it, like drink them all, whatever you get, you get.
Wow.
That's an incredible take. That's 30 million for your family. Well, I'm assuming if you don't die right
Unless
away,
you get screwed over.
Yeah.
If you say you're gonna drink them all and you get it on the first one.
Yeah, that doesn't look so great.
Yeah, and then the one guy was like I said, where he's like, "Yeah, if I probably drink like 6 or 7, and then I'll be drunk by then and just keep drinking them. This can't be the next one."
Oh man, maybe that's what the web losers should have to do.
Jesus.
Web roulette. Well, we have to replace another one.
Just implied that the web owner should die, or at least a chance.
Calvin or Josh, I'm sorry, but
yeah, I'm tweeting that out.
So sources,
I don't know. I'll figure it out.
All right.
Yeah, do it before the podcast drops too, so people are like, "Whoa, what?"
Well, Mango won't drop it till like Saturday, probably.
Stop.
Something like breaking news: more death threats have been heard throughout the web world. I don't know.
Purging the losers of web.
Natural selection.
I think that's what for our Keel dynasty. That's right now we don't really have one. It's been bouncing around between like death penalty or broken finger or
Jesus
tattoo.
Wow.
Like we haven't really solidified anything. It's death penalty at the moment. So
Nice.
little Reem in some trouble.
The broken finger thing might get you on one of those ESPN stories.
I know that would be
2 minutes of fame. Like this fantasy league, they break their fingers and show the videos, people screaming.
I mean, it's Ethan, so there's honestly a chance we could do it. I think Carter was pretty serious about it at one point. He's like, "Yeah, break my finger, just as long as it isn't during basketball season." I'm like, what?
Jesus.
All right.
God, that sounds miserable. Wow, that's high stakes.
Wow, that league sucks. All right. Yeah.
Really? That's the Devi League. Whoever wins that, it's getting called up. Take whoever gets last place.
If we could actually do that,
Baby Web.
That would be the greatest thing ever, but impossible.
Baby Web.
Baby Web. God, can't wait to get 2 teams in. That'd be sick.
Let's expand to 12 teams in 2020, and the next 2 winners of Baby Web get in.
That'd be wild. That'd be God. Just talking about expansion just gets too weird. It'd skew everything bad. But
Stats would be fucked.
Okay, but you give us half-point PPR then. With how much does that make?
Stats that wouldn't affect stats. Well, okay, yeah, no,
Yeah,
the lineups would be
how many
worse.
players on a
They'd be
roster?
dispersed. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah. All right. Yeah,
make it a PPR league, and then it's probably good.
I don't think it's ever going to happen. So
Don't say never. What year is it again? 2017. Still got. I don't know. Maybe one day we'll look at shaking it up. No.
no.
All right.
I think Webb is just it is what it is, right?
Webb's having its best year ever every year. So until that stops,
Yeah.
That's true. All right, guys. Well, moving on. Week 14 going to be very exciting. We're all going to be watching the Caleb and Tim game very closely, and yeah, plenty to talk about next week. We'll do a little playoff preview. Be exciting. So, till then, anything else you need to say?
I hope Caleb and Tim make it out alive.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Will I be on the podcast next week if I lose? I haven't decided yet. I mean, it's finals week, so it's kind of inconvenient for me anyways, but
I think we'll need to, well, first of all, we need to confirm if Parker's still alive.
Yeah.
he is.
We'll need to get Suicide Watch on Tim if he loses. Keep an eye out. Festival foods in the area.
Maybe alert them.
Make sure nothing happens.
No grocery shopping.
Yeah. Make sure to buy anything like a heavy dose of something.
Wow. Yeah.
Maybe we should end this.
It's getting pretty morbid.
This was the most morbid
Before
podcast.
we actually make anybody suicidal or contemplate their own life existence, let's just go ahead and make it a great week 14.
Bye.